So we back at it, ladies and gentlemen. Continue this amazing interview. So we got Anthony Starr Jr. So what time did you start getting into music, and how what did you like about music, about being a rapper, or how did you become a rapper? What made you want to do that?
Well, to be honest with you, I first time I started getting into music, I was like 12, I think, and my school had a music show. So when I was a kid, my favorite rapper was Lil Bow Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That was my favorite rapper. Like I used to get in so much trouble because I used to be walking down the hallways, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. They're like, ain't you supposed to be going to the bathroom, but you're in the hallway dancing? I'm like, man. So one day I performed one of his songs for that little music show.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I'm saying? I had some haters. I had, you know what I'm saying, everybody got haters. I mean, you could build a building by hand, and they'll be like, somebody got something to say. Mm-hmm. So like one of my boys was like, what was that all about? I said, oh, he said, man, he think you did actually pretty good or whatever. So I just like the attraction to the stage or whatever, like I don't know, like being on that stage and having that crowd going along with you sometimes, that's just priceless for real.
Yeah, you definitely was a natural performer.
Yeah.
Like you gravitate to it instantly. Like yeah. Then on top of that, you started dancing, and people loved that.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I mean, so like, what you said, what gravitated me towards music, it's just like it was different because first time I ever recorded a song, I heard my nephew. He was I might have been 13 or 14 at the time. He might have been 9 or 10, but he had recorded a song, and I was like, I'm trying to get on that. And my sister's boyfriend had a studio in the basement. I wrote a verse, stumbled over it a little bit, because like the trick that I learned with Unorthodox was every rapper writes songs, practice them, memorize them, then they get to go with the beat. But we were just strictly reading from paper. You know what I'm saying? Had a yellow notepad, and we strictly were just reading from the paper. Mm-hmm. Next thing you know, we had so when I heard my voice coming off that, I was like, yo, I like this. Then years go by, that's when I met you. Mm-hmm. And then so we used to do, like, I used to think, oh, this is a waste of time. We doing all this stuff. We didn't want to go and stuff like that. And then the next thing you know, you took me to my first show. And I was like so nervous. I remember this day like it was yesterday.
That day I do remember.
That day was like so priceless. See, like, I'm gonna hit a nail on the head with this one. So we performed at the Hookah Lounge on the South Side. Mm-hmm. That was when the Hookah Lounge was right at the end of the bridge when you came across the East Carson Street Bridge. I believe that's what it's called. So next thing you know, we all other people performed and everything. I'm just like, man, when's it gonna be my turn? So the anxiety got even worse. We all went on stage and we already had it planned out. You performed 2 songs. P had a verse in your song, but you told P, like, okay, I'm letting him perform tonight, his song, this is his night. Mm-hmm. So for some odd reason, I naturally just got on the stage. I got on the makeshift stage. I guess you did, wasn't no stage. I legitimately wasn't sure if I was even saying the right words because like it was blaring in my ear as I'm spitting it. I'm like, man, this is harsh, but I'm focused on the crowd. See, the difference is that y'all are New York rappers. Y'all are very lyrical rappers. Y'all are poets. Y'all use big words with big definitions and hit very good points on the head. You know what I'm saying? Versus a Pittsburgh rapper, some of us are lyrical, some of us are party rappers. Yeah. But then when I got on the stage, as soon as I started spitting and I had that Pittsburgh slang to it, they was like, oh, okay. So that night was epic. I had the own little dance I made up. Believe it or not, nobody knows I made that dance up legitimately like a day or 2 before. It was just my own little jig move.
That's where that came from?
Yeah, it just was like on the spot. Next minute, I just went along with it, and everybody started doing it with me, kind of. And next minute, the funny part about it is, I remember seeing white dudes in that club trying to see walk, because they thought that's what I was doing. But everybody was like, "Oh shit!" They was like, "Yo, this fucking dude came in here and got the party try to be like so addicted to performing. Like I said, I was only 16 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We're in a bar. Mind you, I go to the bar after I'm done because I'm hot. We done jumped around. We done had fun. Adrenaline's going. It's like Italian looking girl. Maybe she might have been Latina or something. But she was like, hey, cutie. She said, how old are you? I was like, I'm 16. She was like, you're 16 and you're rapping like that. I was like, yeah. It just became natural. And she was like, it just became natural. She was like, you're good at 16.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing you know, that's when like I was like, this is where it's at. And then things got a little bit deeper. And then I seen how much fun it was. Being a rapper, it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun as hell, but it's still a job.
Yeah.
Like have your lazy moments. You still have your lazy moments and all that. But trust me, performing and all that might be fun. The fame might be fun, but that's still a job.
Yeah.
Plus, whether you get paid or not.
Mm-hmm.
There's some rappers that's rappers for a very long time, and some of them never make it big.
Yes,
but still, that's their job. That's what they do.
That's what they love to do. Yeah. So let me ask you a question. When you met, because you were 16 at the time, so when you met the No For That Tactics and all that, how did that impact your life? Seeing them work together and being that kind of structure, like how did that affect you or impact you?
Well, the kind of structure that UT had, I noticed that there was like a bond there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was like a bond. Now, mind you, I'm gonna touch base on the word cultures. You know what I'm saying? Because every city and every state and every religion, race, whatever, they all got cultures. So I'm gonna touch base on the cultures of the city. Now, from what I seen, and I also dated a girl from New York before, and I actually met people from New York. Y'all are very big on family.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Even though technically I wasn't related to none of y'all, I got treated like I was a member of the family.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
I was like that. I guess you could say the younger brother. The godson to certain people and stuff like that. But whatever the case may be. I seen that no matter what was going on, we might have got mad at each other, we might have disagreed with stuff, but at the same time, though, never turned it back on nobody. UT, we gonna kick your butt when you do wrong. We gonna have your back when we need it. We gonna pat you on your head when you do right. Yeah. That's just how they roll.
But when I met you, the thing I seen you that was number one, your potential. You know, you was a hard worker. Your motivation. You did things that other kids your age wasn't really, doing, or you was willing to do whatever it took to make it happen. You know what I'm saying, or to help out and things like that. But I also saw in you my anger that I had when I was a kid because all the drama. People have different experiences of different dramas in their life or different circumstances. But I saw that, and I wanted to, bring you around us in hopes that would rub off on you and affect you in a way, because I reach a lot of kids through music, but with you, it was you wasn't like a lot of other kids. You was very extremely motivated, and you did whatever it took to be a part of that family. You became right in, and you just like functioned as you've been with us for years. And I thought that was very extraordinary and very unique about you. So you were 16 when I met you. So where did all that anger come from? Where did that anger over the years? Where did that came from?
All that anger that was inside me came from family problems at school. You know what I'm saying? Problems with friends, problems with girlfriends, and all that. See, I'm the type of person that sometimes in my family, you don't necessarily get to always voice your opinion. A lot of times in my family, why would you do this? And then when you go to answer, shut up. I'm like, you just asked me a question. So I had a lot of bottled up anger. Honestly, I don't like being angry. I used to be a hothead, but when you're honestly, when a person bottles up anger and the opportunity for any of it to come out at all, it all comes out.
Oh, yes, right. One time.
Bottled up anger is like if you boiled a bottle of champagne. And I'm talking not just let the water get hot. I'm talking let that thing boil until the cork pop out on its own. that's a lot of pressure. It's like there's a lot of pressure behind it, like shooting a gun. The pressure that pushes that bullet out. That's how fast and hard that anger comes out. I mean, me personally, I really didn't get a chance to express it. I mean, I seen therapists and all that, court ordered and everything, and all the other stuff. But other than that, I mean, the anger came from life experiences and stuff that I was always mad about, and I really couldn't express it and stuff like that.
I wanted to ask you, I see it happen. I see it in a lot of kids, even around here in Brad. I know Brad, where we at. A lot of kids around here have that same issue. And I think it's not a unique thing. It's just a thing that happens when kids go through things growing up and they don't have a way to release that or, deal with it or, things like that, and just comes out that way. They have an anger, that anger is in a lot of these kids in this neighborhood. So let me ask you this: at what age do you feel like you started heading down, per se, the wrong path, and why were you making these kind of decisions?
I mean, well, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. When I met you, I was 16. But me personally, as I discussed with one of my mentors before, most recently, what I personally think that I started going down the wrong path on my own at 13. Because like I said, I moved to Homewood when I was 5. Moved away for a couple of years. Moved to Wilkesburg. Now, this also ties back into what you said about my anger. That anger is motivated by 5 different things. I mean, I got taken away from my mom. Dad wasn't around. Then out of nowhere, my brothers had went their own directions. One went to a group home, one went to go live with his dad. And
so you was by yourself?
I was by myself. Then we moved away from Homewood. All my friends was gone. And then out of nowhere, you put me in a new environment. You know what I'm saying? And that's when a lot of things started changing because the anger was motivated behind it because when we moved to Wilkesburg, when we moved from Homewood to Wilkesburg, that's when I started gaining weight. You know what I'm saying? So family and friends used to pick on me about that. I didn't have no friends for real. I'm not gonna lie to you, I missed Homewood. Homewood right now is like a dead neighborhood. But back in the day, Homewood used to be fun. It was always something to do. You always had your friends around. We was kids.
There was always people out and stuff.
Yeah, always. You couldn't walk to the corner without saying hi to somebody. So I started going down the wrong path because at that time when I lived in Wilkesburg, was gaining weight and everything. I felt like a lame. I had no friends. I had nobody to really turn to. The little bit of friends I did have really seemed like they didn't like me. And also one thing I forgot to mention is that I'm the black sheep of my family. You know what I mean? I felt like everything around me, I didn't fit in with nobody. So I started going down the wrong path when I moved to Homewood, hanging with the older cats. Now, mind you, I had started smoking and stuff, smoking cigarettes when I was at a very young age. Just puffing on them, just hanging with the wrong people. Then I started hanging with older people. So next minute, they had me, we was smoking, we couldn't really afford cigarettes back then, but I couldn't. I was a kid. Yeah. So we used to smoke Black Mountains. It was only $2 a box. They would last you for maybe a day or two. And when you're a kid and you really can't smoke all the time and you got to sneak and do it, they're going to last you long. So I'm hanging with the older cats. I'm only 12 at the time when I first moved back, but then I turned 13, hanging with the older cats. They letting the little young kids hit the weed. We was drinking bottles and stuff like that. I mean, we wasn't getting drunk, but old heads always drinking 40s. And I'm like, yo, let me hit the bottle. Man, you don't want to, let me hit the bottle. Meanwhile, I'm thinking I'm cool, but I got to hold a 40-ounce of beer with 2 hands, so I don't drop it and stuff like that. I mean, and from my perspective, I mean, hanging with the cool kids, that's when I started going down the wrong path. Okay. Because they made it seem like, my grandmother made it seem like everything that was bad. But they made it seem like everything that we did bad was good. Doing what we wanted to do, when we wanted to do it, how we wanted to do it. We didn't have to answer to nobody.
Cool. When did you start to have run-ins with the law? You'd say.
Honestly, I didn't really have too many run-ins with the law. I did as a kid, but it might have been something small, like, oh, hey, don't do that, or something like that. I started having run-ins with the law when I turned 18, because that's when I started. I was older. I could do what I wanted to. I'm still hanging with the wrong people, wrong crowd, and like so. It was like minor run-ins with the law. Like the very first time I actually had to even go in a courtroom to make a court appearance. It was just for a citation. It was the 4th of July. We were lighting fireworks or whatever. I lit one. It was real big. It went off. Cops pulled over in an undercover car. And they gave me a citation. The judge said, "Well, if you could refrain from doing this, I'll just drop it." I was like, he's like, "How you plead?" I was like, "Guilty." I was like, "I lit the firecracker." The cop said something. I told him the truth, and that was that. He said, "I'm not guilty. You plead guilty." But then I started hanging with one of my older friends. He wasn't much older than me, but like he was into the streets heavy. You know what I'm saying? We used to drive around. He was doing his little dirt and all that. We used to get pulled over all the time because we at home were driving around in the car and everything. And like that's when the cops seen him with me. They just seen him in general. They knew who he was, so we used to get pulled over constantly. Sometimes we get yanked out the car. They didn't find nothing. I mean.
So basically, guilty by association.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's to the point where sometimes even if they saw me by myself, they would start eyeballing me. And then so like, I had minor run-ins with the law, but I mean, the serious stuff started when I was like 21.
Okay.
That's years later.
All right. So it's like when did the gang thing? Like when did you start being exposed to gang culture or gang life? When did that start?
Well, to be honest with you, I got exposed to gang life when I was 5 years old. Yeah, had an uncle that passed away. Now, the gang life was to me because like the way my uncle had like introduced me to it, it was the thing to be. You know what I mean? It was the thing to be. Like I don't have this picture, but I seen a picture of me holding an old English can, throwing up a C at 5 years old. My uncle taught me signs and stuff like that.
At 5. This is what he teaching you at 5 years old.
He was teaching me signs at 5. And on top of that, we was listening to rappers who also was involved in that life. So, I mean, music is very moving. Yes. I mean, pretty much music, if you listen to it, they could put you whatever mood that rapper's in when they make that song.
Yes.
It could be a rapper, a singer, it could be any type of person. If the vibe is right, you will feel them words. So I got exposed to gang life when I was 5 years old.
Let me ask you a question from your point of view. How many kids you think come into contact with gang life around that age, just like you did?
Honestly, I mean, there's a lot of kids because some people have parents who are already in that lifestyle. So the kids recognize what they're doing sometimes. They don't know exactly what's going on, but from what they see, they're learning like, not technical terms, but they're learning like ways of that life. I've seen documentaries where fathers had their kids with plastic guns like sticking in their underwear and stuff, just like a person would on the streets.
Damn.
I've seen documentaries about all. Some people willingly want their kids to live that.
So I guess it would be like a kid growing up, and his parents are addicted to drugs. They just learning through it because they see it. And kids emulate what they see. More 9 times out of 10, they emulate the style or the lifestyle they see their parents living. Yeah. Sometimes some kids hate it.
Yes. Some kids do hate it. Like there's times where, watching documentaries, seeing like some of the same similarities, other people's view, you get their opinion on it and you see how it affects them. Like I seen a documentary of a girl, her mom she was a dancer and she just liked to dress like very explosively, if that's the right word to use. Like she showed off assets of her body all the time just in regular clothes. Her daughter hated that. That she was.
I feel that.
her daughter hated that her mom was treated like a piece of meat and ran in a room full of dogs. Like everybody just wanted peace. Her daughter hated it. So like I mean,
I can understand that. I can understand because when I grew up in the crack era, and drugs was real bad. So I pretty much disliked. I had a serious disdain for drugs because I seen the damage it did to close friends of mine's family and stuff. So I understand that. But then I seen some kids just lean to that life because So I guess you're right. You're right. Either they hate it or they become part of it in a way. And so that's deep, yeah. So like at what point did you come involved in the gangs?
I mean, honestly, I got involved in with that gang life when I was like probably about going on 14 because like the gang life is kind of like different in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of different, at least back then. So back then, it wasn't just about sex. It wasn't just about what you was repping, what color flag you had. It was like fraternal games, neighborhoods versus neighborhoods.
Okay.
Meaning like, oh, you was from home, like I'm from Homewood.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
was that big one Law versus who was that at Homewood? Law versus?
No, it was
So wasn't Homewood feuding with like another gang or something, another neighborhood?
Yeah, well, a couple different neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's still to this day.
To this day, this is still existing.
No, not that. Still to this day, I can meet a new female. Oh, how you doing? We introduce each other, you know what I'm saying? Let me get your number. And we'll start talking, getting to know each other. All right, so where are you from? I'm from Homewood. Oh, you're one of them. That's the reputation my neighborhood still has till this day. People from, so like, it was like neighborhoods versus neighborhoods. Like I said, Homewood pretty much had beef with a lot of neighborhoods. I mean, we beef with Lincoln, with Lawrence, with the Hill District. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, the gang life necessarily wasn't just about what color you was repping or what flag you was repping. It was about where you were from. It didn't at that moment. It could be another person. Cause in Pittsburgh, there's a lot of different stuff. There's Crips, there's Bloods, there's Laws. I mean, at one point in time, a neighborhood was calling themselves Convicts. You know what I'm saying?
What was that?
That was on the west side.
West side, okay.
It was calling themselves Convicts. Now, mind you, hypothetically speaking, it could be another neighborhood that's also a Crip neighborhood. Homewood is a Crip neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? So it could be another Crip neighborhood that just don't like that hood.
So it's mainly hoods.
Yeah, it's mainly that's
hoods.
I'm just speaking from my perspective. Everybody might have different motives about it or different opinions about it, but in my eyes, it was about what hood you was from. That's basically what it was like. Oh nah, like one time I went to a different neighborhood. It was like one dude was like, oh well, where you from? You talking a little funny. Oh, I'm from home. Oh, you're one of them. One of them what? Oh, one of them dudes from home where they think they tough and think they can beat everybody. All that, man. Whatever anger you got going on right now, take that over there.
Yeah.
I mean, and it just was like, honestly, like they didn't like you. I mean, it wasn't just about.
I think that really is unique to Pittsburgh. That's the first time I ever experienced that, being from East Coast, DC, and living in Washington, New York, Washington, DC, and stuff like that. Because when I was home, but I went to the corner store, Schuman's or whatever, and I had it on all red. We just wear any color, but I almost got dealt with because I had all that red on. I had no idea that Homewood was. I thought that was L.A. So I was thrown off when I found out the gangs were so prevalent and so strong in Pittsburgh. I was like, yeah, I had no idea, And they was like, "Why you wearing that red?" And I was like, "What you mean?" They was like, "This is a Crip neighborhood." I was like, I'm from New York, and they was like, "Oh, yo, all right, we're gonna let you pass this time, but don't wear that no more here. This is, you can't wear that here." You know what I'm saying? But they saw I didn't understand, so they gave me a pass. Thank God, But
because I mean, in gang culture, they got this thing called flagging. Meaning, like, you might not even necessarily have a bandana on you or be wearing one.
That's what it was. I had a red shirt, red shorts, and a red bandana on my head.
Yeah,
walking down Frankstown.
With the hat.
With the hat. Yes,
you
right.
already know that. know what I'm saying? But then, like, I mean, what you did, it was a fashion statement. You know what I'm saying? But at the same token, though, like, they got this thing called flagging. You might not have a bandana on or something like that, but you're wearing one color from head to toe. That might represent what you repping or what you claim or what you associate with. You know what I'm saying? Or sometimes, in some cases, you just might want to match.
Yes, yes.
But to a regular hood person, that's not just trying to match. That's basically like, oh, I'm being loyal to my side. That's basically what that is.
So what was the situation that ended you up in doing time? What happened, or you don't gotta be all the details, but what happened?
I'm gonna give everybody a little bit of insight of what ended me, what led me doing time. Believe it or not, a lot of people want to know. Like, I was in jail for about maybe 45 months, I want to say.
Ooh.
But the thing about it is that when I went to jail, I robbed a drug dealer. That's what I went to jail for. And I'm not sugarcoated. That's really what I went to jail for.
So was that like gang activity or just on action on its own?
I mean, if you want to, it wasn't gang activity, but it was like my gangster got tested. Because me personally, I'm a person that like, I have an evil side too, but I don't have, I learned how to harness that anger. Like, I don't use that side unless I got to. I'll try to deal with something regularly before I even got to take it there. But if I feel like I'm backed into a corner, then that's when that other side of me comes up. So what led me doing time, like I said, hanging with older people. I had a friend. He was older than me. I was 21. He was in his 30s. We either about to do something that we weren't supposed to be doing, and I wasn't with it. I was like, nah, man, I can't do that. So, talking about, I mean, I went to a couple of friends of ours that we heard you were scared the other night. You didn't want to get down with the get down. I was like, nah, man, that ain't for me. Next minute, a couple weeks later, we go out drinking. Now, mind you, we drinking, we turning up and all that. I mean, that's what I was into at the time. It was the party life. So, like, I mean, we went drinking, and next minute, he was talking about, man, I got to lick. He's like, if you want, I got to lick you about to go. And I'm like, man, here we go again. No, I'm not trying to back you into a corner. I'm trying to put you up on game. You know what I'm saying? Yada, 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 yada. So, we went to go meet somebody else. And then we was told that we was going to rob this dude who sold drugs. So, we go, he was like, listen, go in the house. He told me and the other person, go in the house, see how many people was in there, see where they at, and see what's going on, and come back out here and let me know. I went and told dude I wanted to buy some weed off him. He said he wanted $60 for this little bit of weed. I'm like, nah, man, you want how much for this? Like, this ain't even an 80 for real. He said, but that's Saturday. That's not even from PA.
Okay. I'm
like, man, nah, I'm cool, bro. So we went back outside, told the big homie like how many people was in there. Big homie was like, all right, let's make it happen. He was like, Harry. He handed me a 38 snub. I put it right in my pocket. So we went back to the door, knocked on it. One of his friends was walking upstairs. He came back to the door. He was like, what's up? I was like, hold on for a minute. I had the phone in my ear. It's like, man, what? All right, man, I'll do it, man. Just chill. I'm not even talking to nobody. I hung up the phone. I was like, man, we were supposed to go see some girls. And we told them we ain't get the weed. So now they ain't trying to let us come see them. You know what I'm saying? So I guess we might as well get this weed off you. He went upstairs to go get the weed. Came back downstairs. And was like, how much you say you want for this? He was like, 60. I was like, man, you want 60 for this? I grabbed it from him. I put it in my pocket. I was like, you want 60 for it? I was like, man, you know what? I really don't even want to do it, man. But I was like, man, forget it. I'm going to just do it.
Yeah.
And then when I said I'm going to just do it, the other person knew what I was about to do. So I tapped him on his shoulder. He turned around. I said, yo, you know what this is. When I reached in the pocket to get my money, I already pulled out the gun to put it in his face. Said, you know what it is. I grabbed him by his neck, but I wasn't choking him. He was able to scream and let everybody know that something was going on. So next minute, the other person I was with walked to the front door and let the big homie. I'm just saying the big homie.
Yeah.
He was a big dude. He let the big homie in. Dude wouldn't shut up. He kept yelling and all of that. So my homie hit him one time. punched him right in his mouth and knocked his front tooth clean out. He was like, man, shut up. He was like, okay. So something told me to go in the other room. I went in the other room, seeing all the other people sitting there watching TV, and I was like, yo, everybody, hands up. They all put their hands up. I was like, who got a cell phone? I was like, who got a cell phone? He was like, well, mine's on the table. I said, yo, if you got a cell phone, put it on the table. Next minute, this one dude, I was like, just be cool, won't nothing happen. Next minute, this other person that was sitting sitting on the end of the couch was acting like kept fidgeting. So I got nervous. And I walked over to him. I said, yo, you doing too much damn moving, man. Sit still. I can't. I was like, shut up. Did I say talk? I was like, sit still. And he breathing all funny. I was like, matter of fact, since you got a wallet, I was like, bro, what's in there? Nothing. It's just a wallet. There's nothing in there. I was like, yo, put your hands on your chest, bro. You moving too much. I was like, matter of fact, everybody get on the floor. Everybody got on the floor. I go back around the corner. My big homie and the other dude got the dude checking in this different room. So I grabbed dude by his shirt, like, man, come on, let's go upstairs real quick. Went upstairs. I made his friend come out of this room. But so we went to his room. He gave me this container with all this money and all this weed. And I said, man, pick all that up. I said, you dropped something. He picked it up. I went downstairs. 2 other people gone. Front door's wide open. The cops is outside.
Whoa! Wow, this is going on.
Yeah, while this is going on, and apparently his friend that was up in the room, he was calling the cops once he heard him yelling. Man, next minute I didn't even know all that. Next minute, for some reason, like I had the container in this hand, I had the gun in this hand. But when I came down the steps, I seen the cops. I was like, oh! But for some reason, my arm wouldn't lift. So I was like, forget it. I turned the corner. I opened the door. It happened to be a bathroom. I set the container down on the on the toilet. Lifted up the tank port. I threw the gun in there. I put it back. Next minute, I was like, I got it. Let me at least try to reduce it somehow. So I got arrested. And then, like, I mean, I'm sitting outside. All of them came outside and pointed to me like, yeah, that's him. Yeah, that's him. Next minute, whatever, I got booked. And then, so that was the start of the journey.
Okay. But we're going to pause right here for a second, take an intermission. We'll be right back.